Hey, you're here. Welcome. You saw that dress, right? And you like it. So you want to know how to make it? Let's do it. First, you want to get your tip line, get your fabric. We're going to be using 2 yards of stretch fabric and some African fabric. Maybe you want to get like a yard and a half of African fabric, or maybe more depending on the length of your sleeve. So let's just get down to the cutting of this. You can do it. Let's do it together. Get your tip line. First, start at the top of your fabric here. Fold your fabric into four, like you see mine. It's folded into 4 pieces already. Get your tip line. Start from the top here of your fabric. Measure your shoulders. First, you want to measure your shoulder. Take your shoulder measurement. Mine is 14. So I'm dividing that 14 by 2. So I'm going to mark at 7. So I'm going to mark my 7 here. And then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I come here and I add my 1 inch. That makes it 8. So then from that sewing shoulder line, I come and measure down at 8, which is going to be my armhole, and my breast is going to be 8.5. So I mark my 8 here. Remember, that's my armhole. I mark my 8, and then I'm going to come at 8.5 for my breast line. And then after your breast line, these are just the major lines you want to go by first. Maybe the first thing you want to do is to take your hips, because that's the largest part on your body that's going to go on your dress. But before you do all that, you want to follow these lines first and mark them. So I've marked my 8.5, and then I'm going to go down, because from my shoulder to my waist is 17. So I'm going to mark 17 down here on my fabric. I'm still going straight down. We're still doing the vertical marks. So 17, and then from my waist to my hip is like 8. So waist to hip, you want to measure yours, but I know mine already, and so I'm going to mark it because I know mine. So for this, since I'm just doing a dress, I'm just going to take 23. I'm going to mark at 23. I'll be using 7. Okay. So from there, then you want to take the length of your dress, whatever length you want. I'm going to be using 50. So after you mark your shoulder, now you want to take your breast measurement. For my measurement I'm using is going to be 35. So that 35, remember you folded your fabric into 4. So you're going to divide your 35, or whatever the size of your breast measurement is, you're going to divide that into 4. So since I'm not good at math, let me show you what I do. It's 35, right? You see that 35? I'm going to just fold that. So after you've done your first markings, it's time to go across. So this time around, you're going to be going across instead of going straight down. So first you want to come on the bust line. I'm going to be going with 9 on my bust line instead of 8.5, because I'm going to use that as my armhole, and I think I want it to be a little free. So I'm going to go with 9. So on my 9 bust line is where I'm just going to draw a straight line here. I'm going to use my ruler, draw a straight line across. So that's my bust line. On that bust line is where I'm going to place the measurement for my chest, like your bust, around your bust. Just put your tape around you and measure your bust, and that's where you're going to put your. So I'm going to be using 35. 35 divided by 4 is 8.75 plus my 2 sewing allowance. So I'm going to be going with 10.75. So right on this line, you want to go ahead and mark 10.75 or whatever your measurement is. Do not go by my measurement. I hope you're using your measurement. And this is my waistline. We're going to do the same thing like we did over there. Just make a straight line across. And on my waistline, I'm going to place my waist measurement. My waist measurement is going to be 10.25. So over here, I'm just going to place 10.25. Mark 10.25 here. And then comes your hip line. On the hip line, you're going to do the same thing. Just draw a straight line and then mark your hips. From your shoulder measurement, you want to measure 1 inch down. And that 1 inch down, you're going to slope it. Just mark a slope over there because that's how you're going to be cutting it. So from there, you want to come and draw your armhole. Yeah, you want to connect your lines now. So that's from your bust measurement to your waist, and then from your waist to your hip. This line, this hip line that we mark here, we're just going to come down with it. We just want to bring that line straight down to the end of our dress. All the way. You're going to keep coming. I think I want to go like 1 inch in. So I had 12.25 up there. No, it was 12.5, sorry. 12.5 up there. So we're just going to go here with the same 12.5. Or how about make it like 13 over here so we'll be able to stretch and walk nicely in our dress without getting hooked. Okay. You're going to see this. I'm sorry. I'm just working in a tight space. And that's why you can, I bet you can see all of this right now. But you're going to see it as soon as the cloth gets smaller. We're going to reach it up so you can be able to see everything. So right now, after you've taken your measurements, you want to go ahead and cut. So for the depth of my neck, I'm going to be going with 5. That's for the depth, the one that comes down in the front. I'm going to be going with 5 for the depth. And then the width of my neck, I'm going to just use 3.5. I'm going to stop at 3.5. So when you're cutting your neck, that's why I brought it down a little bit so you can be able to see it. I had to bring your fabric down. When you're cutting your neck, the measurement you use up here remains constant on the folded fabric. But when you're doing the front, for the front cutting, you have to be careful unless you want your front and the back of your neck to be as deep as the same way. But if you don't, then you have to just go by cutting the roundness first, and then when you're about to cut this front, you have to remove the back. So I will advise that you just mark, since I'm going with like 3.5 here, I'm just going to mark that 3.5. I'm going to separate my pieces and mark that 3.5 on the back of my gown. So I marked the 3.5 here on the back of my fabric, so that way I know that that's going to be the measurement I want over there. But for the front, I'm not going to be using the same measurement on the back. So since I just want a round neck, you can choose whatever design or neck you want. I just want a simple round neck, so I'm just going to be making my curved line here to come in middle with my 5 measurement. So the measurement from the 3 to the 5, and you just make a curve over there. Depends on what you want. You can make a V-neck, you can make a curve, whatever you want. But I'm just going to go a simple curve. I'm not going to do V-neck. I'll just go a simple curved neck here. So that's it. And we're just going to cut the front. That's our front neck. And the back. As you can see, this is the back. So the back, maybe I'm just gonna go with 1.5. I'm just gonna go with 1.5, or maybe 2 in the back. Okay, let me use 2. I'm gonna go with 2 in the back, 2 by 3.5. So the same thing, I'm just making a curve here to connect the 2 dots, and that's it. So if you can see here, that's gonna be for the back. And you just follow that curve and cut. There we are. So now that you've done all your measurements, you've cut your fabric, you should have something like this. Something that looks like this is what you should have. Mine is still pinned together. And I will advise you keep it pinned together because you want to transfer this mark on the entire fabric, because you're going to be using this mark to cut your sleeves. For the sleeve of this dress, you're going to be needing that mark. So after you have marked your fabric, you want to make sure the lines, like I said, you want to make sure those dots are on the fabric perfectly, because you're actually going to need them on the right side of your fabric to be able to design your sleeves. To cut your sleeves, you're going to need to sew your sleeves. You're going to need those lines. So we went ahead and I just went ahead and already I pinned, if you can see here, I pinned my dress fabric, the black fabric we cut. I went ahead and pinned it to the Ankara fabric, the African fabric, like I told you we're going to be using. I'm not using a cotton fabric. The Ankara fabric I'm using is actually the polyester one that I'm using for my sleeve. So I've been having this for a couple of years now. I actually brought it from Africa on my last trip I went, so I'm going to be using it finally. I found something to use it for. So you want to just go by your measurements, just go by all those dots and pin your fabric to your Ankara, which is going to be the sleeves. And now we're going to try to cut this. Hopefully we can get this. So before we cut, I would say, how about we turn it around? Let's make sure, let's see if we can get it on and cut it on the other side. Okay. So I'm just following my pins to do the marking. I'm just following the pin because I'm just going to leave the fabric and end it all the way to where it ends. The length of my dress is 50, if you recall, and the Ankara is just 42 inches, I think. That's the normal length of the Ankara. So I'm just going to go all the way to the end. I'm not going to stop anywhere. I'm just going to use the entire length of it. Okay, so I think so far we got it over there. Let's see. Let's see if we can flip it over again and make sure we got it right. This was kind of difficult. I was watching it. I actually saw it on another lady's channel. I watched it just like you saw it and stopped. That's how I saw it and I stopped. I like it, so I stopped. And yeah, it's beautiful. I like it. And I say, you know what? I might give it a try. Let me give it a try and see what it looks like. So if you're trying this with me, let's just try it together. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I didn't measure the length for my sleeve. I'm just gonna go with the length for that. I think I might be using lace at the end of my sleeves. So let me see, from this shoulder to 24. Let me make it 25, and then I'm gonna add some lace to the end, maybe. So I'm gonna be going with 25. Mark it here at 25. Yeah, I think I prefer to start tracing from the bottom versus from the top, because I actually want, sorry about that, I actually want the top to be really wide. So I'm going to start tracing just freehand from the bottom. So you want to, now you've cut your sleeves, you want to come at the end of your sleeves and just measure 2 inches for the slope, to continue that slope from your shoulder. So you're just going to continue the slope from your shoulder down to that 2 inches mark, and we're going to cut that too. So after you have went ahead and done your remarking on your Ankara fabric, you just want to go ahead and move the pins so you can be able to cut. So just remove your pins. Remove your pins to separate the fabrics. Take your dress fabric from your sleeve fabric and just cut that portion that you had, that you already marked. Just follow the line and cut it. Even though I turned it to the back and I did the tracing on the fabric from the pins, I don't think I really need to turn it around to cut it. So I'm gonna just go with this, and I'm gonna follow this line that I made on the front, and I'll cut it. So just go ahead, take one piece of your arm, turn your face down, have your dress fabric facing right side up, and then take your sleeve, turn your face down. I saw people just join in before attaching it to the dress, but I like to find an easy way out, so I'm gonna be trying it this way. Let's see if it works, and you're gonna see it if it works. For me, I feel this way is gonna be easier. So let's just pin it. You take one side of your arm and pin it face down to your dress, front facing, both of them front facing. Your ankara is going to be, the front of it is going to be facing the front of your dress, the right side of your dress fabric. So I'm actually pinning the two front sleeves to the front piece of the dress, and I'm going to do the same with the back. I'm going to turn it the same way and pin the two back sleeves to the front of the back piece. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. We'll see it as we go along. Both our front and our back pieces with the sleeves on them. So I'm going to turn it right side face. I'm just going to turn it right side face and just pin along. I'm going to pin along from the shoulder here. I'm going to put my shoulders together and pin along all the way down on my sleeves, the shoulder of my sleeves, because I'm going to have to join it over there. So I'm going to be pinning, as you can see. I'm doing that right now. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. I'm just pinning my sleeves where I'm going to be joining them together. I'm sorry about that noise. My neighbor's working on their house. So I pin my sleeves all the way down here. If you see from the shoulder, this is actually from the start of my shoulder, from the beginning of my shoulder all the way to the end of my sleeve here. And this is going to be, obviously this is the opening of our sleeves, so we can see this. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and we're just going to do the stitching. You just stitch that thing down, that entire side that you pin, just stitch it down and do the same on the other side, and I'll be right back. I stitched the shoulder of my gown already, so I stitch it all the way down. I hope my camera can focus. You can see from the neck all the way down here to the end of the joining of our arm, the sleeves. So if you're stitching your neck, if you're hemming your neck, now would be the time for you to go ahead and do it. You want to do it now. If you're just folding it over to stitch it, this is the time for you to do it. But since I'm adding lace around my neck, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be adding lace around my neck, so I don't want to do that right now. I'm going to leave it, and I'll come. So my dress is on the wrong side. Now is the time to join your dress back and front together. So I'm just going to take the sleeves and put it inside towards the right side. Remember, your dress is on the wrong side. My dress is on the wrong side here, and I'm just fitting my sleeves inside towards the right side of my fabric. So I'm going to put it inside like that, and take my two pieces from my armhole and join them, and I'm going to start pinning from my armhole, from the armhole of the dress all the way. You just want to follow your body fitting on that dress that you did. Remember, you did your measurement, and that's what you're going to follow, and just pin your dress together, making sure not to pin your sleeves that you put on the right side. Be careful not to grab your sleeve fabric. I would advise when you pin this inside, you try to turn it to the right side and make sure you didn't grab any piece of your sleeve in your pinning. Before you stitch, I would advise you go turn your dress on the right side and make sure you did not pin your sleeve fabric in there, because it's gonna be very easy to get your sleeve fabric stuck in something here, because that's a lot of fabric to go around with. So just go ahead and pin everything until you reach the end of your dress. When you pin your dress with the sleeves inside on the right side, it should look like this. So this is the wrong side, and your sleeves should be on the right side of your dress inside. You're going to pin it like this. That's how it's going to be pinned, and you're going to sew along these lines to join your dress. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much. I hope you make yours, and if you have any questions, just leave it down in the comment below. Let me know if there's any other thing you think we can make together. Just let me know down in the comments, and we'll try to figure out and we'll make it together. Thank you so much for watching. I will say I like to see pictures of yours when you make it. Hopefully I'm gonna show you some pictures of mine. Thank you so much. Stay safe. God bless you.